Hello, everyone. This is Heidi with Downtown NorCal Live. I'm coming to you today, as I do Monday through Friday, with another interview for small businesses. But before I do, I want to acknowledge the crisis we're in. I want to let you know that I feel inadequate as a white woman to be bringing any conversation forward. And I also want you to know that I know I will make mistakes. In that same vein, I do know that we are looking for leadership. And in each and every town, I know business leaders are our leaders. And so it is my great pleasure to introduce you to one today. Please meet Juan Barajas. He is the owner of the Savory Cafe in Woodland. Hello, Juan.
Hi, Heidi. Thank you for having me today. And thank you for making that acknowledgement of what is happening in our world and today. Not only the effects that are the effects that we're receiving directly from a pandemic, but underlying issues that are still here and have been happening. And it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask you if you could just go through the nuts and bolts of your business in normal times. Your cafe would normally be serving customers, and so walk us through what your menu is like, what your typical customer load is, and then what's happening now.
Well, our whole philosophy, we've been in business for about five years or so. And the whole philosophy of starting Savory Cafe was to be able to serve the community with a farm to fork approach, really connecting individuals and from the products that we've seen grow where we used to live, from Woodland, from Yolo County, which is where I was born. And being able to connect those individuals to the products that we grew up with. And we have finally been able to, I think it has been a while, and it has taken a while longer than I thought, to be able to accomplish something where it takes us to where we wanted to really call ourselves a farm to fork restaurant. It was a little bit hard in the beginning, but I think we have done several things and put several events together. We have actually put a lot of effort into this community and acknowledgement into the community of who we are, just to be able to bring that into what Savory Cafe is now and what our community is representative of us and how important farm to fork is to us. And it's something that we believe in. It's just not a slogan. So with that said, a business before COVID, we were entering our 5-year through Savory Cafe. It seems like it's going in the right direction. We were actually having a lot of fun doing everything that we were doing. We were very happy to see the changes that we were making and the impact that we were making in our community by having individuals make those conscious, educated choices to eat healthy products and to be able to feed and continue to give business to the farmers that are within our community and are able to give back to us exactly what we produce. So we were, our goal is just to produce our own, not to be selfish, but to produce an ecosystem within our area and build a little model that we can replicate throughout different communities in the United States, throughout the world, and let those individuals know that it can happen. And if it can be one voice, one person, that's all it takes, as long as we do it right, to make sure that we're able to change other individuals and have the impact that we want to create, not only in a small town, in our county, in our state, in our nation. And there's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of us that have those beliefs and are passionate about what we do. But COVID happened. COVID happened, and it has actually created what I thought was a more difficult approach by having our doors closed, by having our business closed, just as the restaurants and many other industries have suffered throughout this pandemic. So what we wanted to do is find a couple solutions on how to operate, because there's still a need out there. And I think what we found is we found a platform for individuals to be able to have those healthier items. For us, it was a turnkey because we are already receiving those products that are going to be able to heal individuals, food that is going to be healthy. And we have always treated food as medicine when we eat it. We have always recognized the different benefits that food has and the impact that food has in our bodies. And that is exactly what we're trying to do and what we seek out to do. So COVID has actually shut down our doors. However, we have continued to work with those different farmers, and we have found different creative ideas on how we can continue pushing and moving a food system that actually works. And if anything, this particular pandemic will teach us a lesson, and it will reel us back to basics on what food, through food, healthy, nutritious food should be. And I hope that we can be more resilient, and I hope that we can have a bigger platform of individuals that we can speak to after this pandemic is done, and that we have individuals that when they hear us saying, repeating, and once again about the benefits of food and the benefit the food has when you consume it, I hope that our message is easier to get across than what we have saying, and that instead of taking half years, we'll be able to make those leaps in a year, in 6 months, and then the individuals will listen when it comes down to eating fresh food, organically produced food. And it's not only that, it's about maintaining the supply chain. It's feeding a family that is also a small farmer. And it's about producing some of the products that remind us of growing up, and it's those smells of growing up. And perhaps rather than going into a bulk facility, you're buying from a small family and having those families and knowing our food by a first name. That to me is something really nice to be able to be said. Our eggs are. They have a first name. I say a first name because we call them usually by the name of the owners of the farm, and they have a first name, and it's Annette. And our salad is Suzanne. It's Suzanne Ashworth. She has the number one organic certification in Yolo County. Our beets are Trini and Tim. And our strawberries, they can be from Rafa, or it can be from Devi. And it's having an association with food and calling food by a first name the way it should be, and having your food grown the way the food was intended to be grown and intended to be enjoyed. COVID has had a great effect on the food industry. It has decimated the restaurant industry. It has made us change. We had to throw a playbook on training, and we have to build a new training platform. So I don't want to take it to a level where it has been fun. It has taken us to basics, but it has made us really realize how important having a food system that is a closed food system, that is a local food system, and it has taken us to realize how much we need local farmers, how much do we need to pay attention to local food, and how important the person that is 4 miles outside of Woodland that is producing some of the best berries, how important are they to me, and why I should give them my support, not only now in a time of need, because they have the product available.
That is an incredible message you've just delivered, and I really thank you for that. I wanted to ask you, in terms of service, your doors are closed to customers, but you're still serving people. Who are they?
Well, we have identified when COVID was first, we had to close our doors, and we wanted to identify a couple different ways that we could still serve our community and still be able to push some of the product, knowing that our treating food like medicine, that food that we were going to be serving and delivering was going to make individuals healthier. It was going to make them more resistant to a particular pandemic, not immune, but resistant, and make their bodies a little healthier. So we have been working with emergency medical services, doctors, nurses, hospitals, any essential company that is out in the food service, seed companies, canneries. We have also been delivering some of the meals to our invisible workers, which are now deemed essential. We have been going to some of the migrant centers, and we've been delivering food to some of the migrant centers. Due to COVID and the effect that the pandemic has had, there's usually some centers that come in when migrant workers are coming over to pick some of the products that we will be enjoying in the next few months. And if we do not have those individuals, we will not be able to have the products that we are going to be enjoying: our tomatoes, our asparagus, and everything that requires a lot of manual labor and skilled labor out in the fields. And I did say skilled labor. To be able to pick those products. So by acknowledging those invisible individuals and servicing those particular individuals that when COVID hit, were not able to receive a lot of the different benefits that are usually available to different nonprofit organizations, we saw a way that we can meet and close a gap between the criteria. So we've been able to keep our doors closed, but we have come up with different ways that we can continue to work, not only through our restaurant, but through our organization, and be able to turn a lot of different restaurants in Woodland and in Yolo County to be able to serve a community as well, and bring them in to work with us together, so we can all go through this pandemic, hopefully with the least effect as possible that we can, or try to mitigate the impact that we are having.
Who is the leader of this group of restaurants you're talking about? Is that you?
we have it sounds funny when you say it aloud, I guess, but we have a I feel responsibility by having a restaurant, and I feel responsibility by doing something for our community and the community that we live, we work, and we play in. So we have always taken a very active role when it comes down to food, and we have taken a very active role when it comes down to serious food and real food. We started a nonprofit organization with Ms. Hennigan about 5 years ago, which is Woodlands Dinner on Main. Woodlands Dinner on Main has brought us a community garden at City Hall. Woodlands Dinner on Main has provided a platform for us to be able to teach individuals about the importance of sourcing locally. We started that nonprofit back in 2015, and we're very happy of the outcome that this particular nonprofit organization and the recognitions that we have received. It's not only about the recognition, but it's about the work and the collaboration of the different chefs. And it has created a way, instead of having a competing in competition amongst restaurants, to be able to bring restaurants to work together. And I think that is one of the biggest satisfactions that I have received, to be able to know that I have 12 different restaurants, 15 different restaurants in Yolo County that I can place a call into, and they will be able to respond, and knowing that they will execute at the level that we need to execute when they do, because our standards are nothing less than serving our community, and are right there to pick up the call. And I think that is one of the greatest satisfactions that I have received by being the culinary lead for that particular organization, and one of the co-founders for Woodlands Dinner on Main, and making sure that we're serving our community, that we're bringing additional knowledge and to our community that can better our community, and not just for self, but being able to leave those little seeds and plant those little seeds, so we can come back and reap from some of those seeds, and give that knowledge to some of the individuals, younger generations, those that are going to come after us. If we leave the right message, and if we leave the right message behind, they will absorb what we have now, and I will be a better person at the end of my life, because of the decisions that we made today, and the individuals that are coming right behind us. So that's the purpose that I think, the focus that we have in life. And because of that is the direction that we have decided to take in taking that leadership role with our community, and being able to implement change and impact into our community, which we live in. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, but this whole little pandemic is getting on the way of us doing a couple things that we wanted to do otherwise. But we are also finding different ways, and I think we have a great platform from which we can take off, and it'll be easier for us to move forward from there. And it did blindside a lot of us, but it can also be a way like I said in the beginning, to go back to the basics and being able to see what really is important in the food system and to see how we have a fragmented food system and what is it that we can do to fix it. I think we have a lot more individuals, and I hope that individuals pay a lot more attention when it comes to it, and we're able to understand. And we ask for a little bit of patience while we bring our message. And it's not that we want to preach a certain a particular agenda. The agenda that we have is we want to make our community a better community. We want to make our community a community that we can actually look forward to and be proud of what we have in here, because it's a group of different individuals that have worked very hard. And I know that we have only been in business for about 5 years, but it has taken at least 20 to get to where we are now, and to be able to deliver the point where individuals are listening. And that's dreams to us, that we are seeing our dreams come through. And my dream is that we're going to walk down Main Street. I know the statistics say that we're going to lose about 30% of the restaurants. And through the platform that we have, and through Dinner on Main, and with the leadership and individuals listening to what we are going to do, my goal is to get that to zero and set up a model that we are going to have. And I am going to walk Main Street with our guys hand to hand, side to side again, and we will see, and we're very happy. And I hope that other individuals pay attention to that. And I hope that other individuals are able to see what we want to do. And if we change their life, they will be healthier. They will have a more resilient economy. They will be able to help a lot of different families that are going through hardship as well, not only through our farms, but through the restaurant industry. And we will make ourselves almost a foolproof model that when COVID comes, we're going to just shelter ourselves in place, and we're going to be away from that, but we're going to be healthy individuals. We're going to know exactly what we're going to do when something like this happens again, if it happens again, and I hope that it does not.
I will be cheering from the sidelines as you march down Main Street. Good for you on that. Turning our attention to this weekend's trauma and last week's trauma, I wanted to ask you about racism very directly, and how that might have impacted you as a business owner, and how you are feeling today for communities of color, in particular the Black community.
Well, I mean, it probably takes a long time to have a little bit more of a conversation. The fact of the matter is that there's an underlying problem. There's a big problem that we have, and we have with individuals of color. The way that I feel personally have been affected. I come from a laboring family. We were blessed to have a change of stars when I was before I was born. That was through my parents. They decided to take a different direction with their path and their career. But the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of I want to say ignorance and fear from a lot of individuals that do not understand, or not willing to understand. And there's a lot of underlying things that happen before an individual is brought up in the way that they are brought up, to not quite be able to be open or be too proud to understand that they could rather help someone else. But I have also seen through my grandparents and my dad, the way that when they were giving an opportunity, we stepped up. And what I mean by we is we stepped as a family, we stepped up to the plate, and we were able to deliver what those individuals were asking, and we were able to prove, and they were able to see what we could do. And it's hard for me to say that I want to be on the same plate. And by that, I mean on the same plate as I was born in the United States, and I am an American at heart, and I am an American, and I love where I live. I was 3 years old when I found out, and I was in Mexico, and I found out that I was born in Woodland, and I started preparing myself. When I was 3 years old, I wanted to make sure that I learned English. I wanted to make sure that I went to the best school. And when my dad we were living in Mexico, we moved to Mexico when I was a year old. Nobody asked me if I wanted to go. But when I was 3 years old, I found out that I was born in Woodland, and I started preparing myself for coming back to Woodland. And the first time of the opportunity that we had when we came back, I never went back. This has been our home. This has always been our home. This is what feels like home to me. I saw coming back, and I know that individuals may have an accent. And when an individual has an accent, it's a little bit different. And if you're not on the same playing field as many others, you will be discriminated against. You will be perhaps not thought as the same individual that are not perhaps does not it's not as smart because you do not speak the same way. If you are a different color, that you can experience discrimination, and but I have only made it. I have always taken that when someone has made a comment, I have addressed it as a way. What is it that I can do to not let it affect me, and how is it going to make me stronger and a stronger person, and what is that I can do to get those biases out of those particular individuals and be able to understand those biases from those individuals, and how can I go back and prove them that I can do great things. And I've always used it as a tool to really educate myself, to make sure that I understand those biases, so I do not let those same mistakes happen to me. Do not see an individual on the street and think that they're lesser than me because that individual's in the street, not knowing his history, not knowing his story, not knowing what that individual comes about, because that individual that is probably on the street could have been the CEO of a great company. And that's the way that I'd like to think of many individuals. I always have given individuals the benefit of the doubt. I know that when it comes down to the Black community, they have gotten from a long time the wrong end of the stick, and I've always felt that, well, not similar or in that way, I've always tried to stay away from trouble, to be able to experience anything like that. That I can't really assimilate, but my heart hurts when I see that exists out there, because I know it's real. It makes me realize that there's still that in the world, and there's not a lot that we can do as an individual other than teach and help other individuals understand the different biases, and really talk to an individual and see the goodness in life and see the goodness in the world. Because not everything is really bad. I mean, I know that we have bad situations that happen, but not everything in the world is bad. I've always tried to explain to some individuals when I can, or I have the opportunity, to making sure that individuals understand that there's still a lot of greatness in the world over a lot of things that are happening. But it is also our responsibility to make sure that they bring those points up, and that we have those discussions, because I think by not having those discussions, we are ignoring that topic or the subject is happening. So when we open up those conversations and we explain the way that it makes us feel, I can get across to an individual by explaining where I come from and what I want to do. And we start finding, instead of finding our differences, and we start getting to the similarities on each other, I think we've got to start putting ourselves on that same platform. And that's exactly where we want to be. We want to be on the same platform, because I have dreams. I want things. I want to accomplish things, and I want to accomplish those things with everyone who wants to help in our community. And I've always thought that if we surround ourselves with great individuals, great things are going to happen. But we also have to be aligned with our
Juan?
With our vision on where is it that we want to be in life, so we can get there together. And once we find each other on that same platform, I think a lot of us are going to be able to understand a lot more of what is happening today. And it is not okay by any means. It is not okay that we have young men dying out there. It is not okay, and it has never been okay, and it will never be okay with me. And it can only be addressed if we address it and we bring up the conversation. So I'm very glad that you brought it up today.
Thank you. I just want to reinforce the fact that you've just provided so much goodness That's really a message I feel people need to hear today. The very works that you're doing in Woodland and in our Yolo County community are the kinds of things we can look to for leadership and for hope and for positivity and for healing. So I've been talking with Juan Barajas. He is the owner, excuse me, he's the owner of Savory Cafe. Juan, I thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you for your time, and thank you for giving us an opportunity to give a little bit of our opinion during this time, and for acknowledging that we are here. We're here to serve. We are here to serve, and we want to do anything that we can to help out. And I hope to be back in business soon and get this all behind us.
I hope that for you too. And likewise, I'm here for you.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
everyone.